The level of competition at Taste of the Caribbean is parallel to any culinary arts contest worldwide.
This competition, I've been involved in a lot of different programs, expos, things that involve competitions in them. And there are competitions in the world for culinary accolades like the San Pellegrino and the Bucas Chef Awards. And these things are huge and they're worldwide recognized as the most prestigious chef competitions. And for me, those competitions don't nearly have as much details and planning and rules and educational sessions as this. We have been practicing as a team for about 5 months now, 6 months, 4 days a month, basically run the restaurant, get 4 hours of sleep a night, go to practice on my day off, and then try to build a house too.
From the skill and technique used by the chefs, the preparation of their food and cocktail, to the plating and presentation, the expectancies of the judges is at a high caliber. While Team US Virgin Islands was halfway through the competition, there was plenty of more high stress and intense moments to go. This is Taste of the Caribbean, Team USVI. On the third day, the group was finally able to compete together as a unit, minus one team member. Bartender Frank Robinson would have to sit this one out as he was competing in another bartending competition, the rum event.
So team competition is one of our major events for it. We have most of our team involved in that, from our captain, who's on the outside of the table, who can give us direction, help us with setting up plates, cannot touch food at all, but is there to help, organize menu, check off prep lists, items that are done, and kind of keep us in line with timing and stuff.
After months of preparation and team practices, Team USVI was ready to get going.
Basically, our headspace for before the competition was just to relax a little bit, everyone kind of get in their zone, meet early. We've been preparing for a long time for this. We've seen the competition. We were second group, so we were able to look at the first group, and we already had a good idea of what our provisions were, which they already give us a list, but then we also got to see the secret ingredients that they got. So we kind of had an idea of where we were gonna go, and it was very much in line with our practices that we've been doing every day.
The nervousness was there for some of the chefs.
I was very nervous.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just get nervous. I get really, really nervous. Really nervous.
But all of that went away once they hit the floor.
But then coming down to the plating and stuff, it was like, okay, I'm not seeing none of the teams, I ain't seeing none of the cameramen. It's just like I'm working for a big table, just ready to get these tables out. But then after all of that, everything was smooth. We got good feedback, so it was positive.
4 hours to do 8 plates, it's you kind of take your time. 3 hours to do 40 plates is you gotta run around like a chicken with your head cut out. But we've been practicing for it, we've been preparing for it for months, so we already kind of have an idea. I already have an idea going into exactly what I need, what I want to do, and I could just adapt it to if they give us passion fruit, if they give us mango or whatever they end up giving us, I can just kind of switch it with whatever it is I'm doing. And I think that's kind of a smart game plan to go into instead of just completely winging it. With pastry, you can't really do that. You can't just, oh, I'm gonna throw some flour and some sugar and a scoop of baking powder and hope I can make a cake. It doesn't work like that. So you just kind of have to be prepared, and I think I'm ready for that.
Me personally, I go by, I live my life like no stress. So stressing, it didn't affect me much, and I was trying to take stress off of everybody else. So my job really was just a little bit of support, and also just like make sure that everybody there had extra, you know, like, because when you in the kitchen, you need your tools. When you anywhere in the world, anywhere in life, you need your tools. So I was there to provide the tools them, and I was washing the dishes, and I was preparing the supplies for the chefs them to use. And even at that, one of the chefs told me yesterday that she liked my positivity, because even while I was washing dishes, she said you're taking pride in that. And
The team had a good feel for the ingredients made available, but they still had no idea which proteins they'd end up with. After the reveal of the mystery protein, Team USVI got down to business.
So most of the time before the meeting, I was preparing that, and then we met with the team, we reviewed prep lists, we reviewed menu, and then we had our blanks, which we knew were proteins. So the structure's all there, and it all comes down to us getting set up, executing, and you know, all the way to the end, because even when you're done plating, you got to clean up the kitchen. And I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people sometimes stray away from. We got for mystery ingredients pork loin, which is a little bit tougher than pork tenderloin. You have to cook it, you know, if you don't hit it at medium perfect, it will be chewy. We got ball tip sirloin, but we did not use that. We sent that back, and we got a bunch of chickens, which we used all the chickens. And basically knowing all those components and seeing these things allowed us to kind of create an outline of a prep list and a menu.
For their appetizer, the USVI chefs prepared adobo Indian sage pan-seared pork loin made with crispy smoked lamb bacon, preserved red onion, passion fruit, seared Christophine, shredded carrots, St. John sea salt, and crispy cassava chip. For the entree, herb-cured roasted chicken with Tanya escabeche pickled vegetables, curry coconut, calabaza soubise Coral Bay organic garden greens, and scallion oil. And lastly, for the dessert, lemon brownie, chocolate cinnamon torch meringue with coconut cookies, key lime custard, pound salted caramel sauce, sugar gratinated rum flan, guayaba sauce, and passion fruit special. While the execution seemed seamless, there were a few challenges the team had to face.
We had some good feedback just here and there from the judges. That we got little sneak peeks that, you know, they dropped this little, oh yeah, you guys are doing this, you guys are doing that. They made some comments of how organized we were, how good our station looked the whole time. So I think we really did a good job in terms of, you know, hygiene, organization, as they discussed, professionalism, teamwork, and those are all major components of what the floor judge is looking at, which is I think 35 points towards your total. And then the tasting judges do 65 points. And we put the pork loin on our first course. We did like a passion fruit vinaigrette, but we forgot to grab oil. We forgot to grab oil. We had butter, and we had coconut milk, you know, but it wasn't coconut oil. And we kind of like, I had a little moment where I was like, oh, I cannot believe we forgot oil. So we took a minute, I had them separate the butter to get rid of the milk solids, so we had something like ghee that we could have a higher fat or a higher smoking point so it could get hotter. And we used that to do a lot of the cooking, but then we needed to make a vinaigrette. So the team next to us at one point needed some plastic wrap, and I think we brought our own. They thought it was a competition, which they supplied too. But in this industry, you have to support your neighbors. You know, it's not about who's the best restaurant. It's about, you know, how you can uplift your food in your community to make yourself more of a culinary destination. That's how you're going to increase revenue. So for me, I kind of thought of it in that situation. I was like, listen, you need plastic wrap? You can have plastic wrap. But if you got any oil, like I didn't forget oil. So if you got any extra, you know, you don't, no pressure, but if I love it. So like 2 minutes later, he came with like one of his bowls over to our station to wrap it, like the time before he took the plastic wrap over to his station. But this time he brought like his bowl over to my station with like something he wanted to wrap and like set down some oil at the same time. and that's camaraderie, you know, that's what it's about.
Thankfully, camaraderie among their Caribbean brothers and sisters helped the team to get over a few bumps in the road. On the other side of the room, USVI bartender Frank Robinson was getting geared up for the rum competition.
The rum competition, going into the rum competition, I was probably the most confident because that was the one drink that I was sure was just elegant, beautiful with flavors, and I was able to execute it well.
Frank's rum cocktail was called the Crucian Queen.
The cocktail was called the Crucian Queen. It was a little homage to the queens, you know, that, well, everybody knows about the queens in St. Croix, and if you don't, you should look it up on your own. Doing a Crucian rum cocktail called the Crucian Queen. It's got a little bit of spice, a little bit of sweet, a little bit of tartness to it. Got some limeade, tamarind, some spiciness, and a little bit of egg white to give it some foam. So hopefully I can execute this drink to perfection, and I will close out on a high. Everything's gone good so far in this competition, so I think coming into the competition, this was my best drink. So if I can keep the momentum going and rock it out like I'm supposed to, I think the VI might be going home with some gold.
The Crucian Queen, while well executed, there was one small mistake.
During the rum competition, during my presentation, I did have a moment where I got a little, my nerves hit me a little bit, you know, just because I know I've executed the cocktail perfectly. So, you know, I got to thinking about that, psyched myself out, and I had a little foam over. But other than that, the drink came out beautiful. It looked perfect. They were intrigued by the flavors.
It's a little bit spicy, but very smooth and sweet. Thank you.
The judges seemed pleased. The crowd was happy. Everybody who tasted the drink told me that they enjoyed it. So I think in rounding out the third competition that we have prepared for, I'm feeling very good. I'm feeling extremely good, to be honest.
Doing a little bit of herb cured chicken breast with local St. John salt. And then we got chicken thighs that we're going to do the same thing with. Probably going to roulade one of them and slice the other one. Show technique on the plate. And this just allows to suck some of the moisture out of the skin, so we could sear it nice and hard and get beautiful color, but also seasoning it.
The entree we did was herb cured chicken. Chicken was the missing ingredient. We knew we could do this quick cure process on any protein we got. It's showcasing our modern techniques and abilities that we have, and it's also utilizing something that we've always used in the Caribbean, which is salt to preserve. So what we do is we laid out a sheet pan of salt with crushed garlic and herbs, and threw the skin side down on all the chicken. We deboned the thigh meat and put that skin side down, and I broke down the chicken breast and put that skin side down. The rest of the piece of it, we made a stock that we could cook our starch in, just to showcase that we're not going to throw away a dang thing. Every single scrap went into that stock pot that went into our TATIANA escabeche. And that process of curing the meat on the salt draws the moisture out of that part of the meat and tightens it up, and it seasons it, and it almost seasons it all the way through like a brine or something, but then it makes it so it gets super crispy in the pan because it drew moisture out of it. You just rinse it off real quick and then, you know, pat it dry, and then you're ready to go. For us, this was a really important technical part of our dish. Also, it tastes really good.
The team overall walked away feeling good about the competition.
It was good. Everybody collaborated, did their part, put the flavor in.
I'm really happy how everything turned out, and you know, the USVI had problems in the past with getting in that team spirit, what people are saying, and I think this year, you know, you can see a big difference that we are a team. You know, we help each other, we're there for each other, and that's what it is all about.
My whole outlook really on the team thing is a team. I guess I was here last year, so you were here already, so you know what it is. So I'm going to support you because you are my teammate, and I was here and I know how things went last year, and I'm going to give you heads up and be like, well, this is that, don't do that. Make sure you have everything that you need. If you need ideas, run it by me. I'll give you whatever. I guess I would just say I'm being a team player, basically.
Yeah, well, we came in, we organized ourselves. I think we worked pretty strong. We were pretty good from a time frame. We had our game plan together, because that's why we're doing the training since 3 months or 4 months. We were very good in time. We worked very clean. Even the judges said, wow, you work very organized. The only problem we had in the end was we were a little bit short in the time frame. Because as of we know, I mean, they're standing 4 cooks cooking 40 plates in like 3 hours, because the first hour you're more or less not allowed to cook. This was a little bit challenging. We got the plates out, but because of we hustled in the end to get the time, not to get discounted the points for the timing, which is a big discount. We were hustling a little bit, and the plates were not all the same plated.
Doing 2 competitions back to back is very tiring, but I feel good. We finished on time, so we didn't get any penalties. That's the most important thing, I feel. Once you tried your best and you finish on time, you're good to go.
First of all, really nervous, but when I get busy, it was like I want to go see nice. Yeah, I feel good now. Everything finished. A success.
Everything came on time, so I'm just finding this out, so I'm very excited and happy about that. It was really nerve-wracking. It's a lot more work than you think it's going to be in 4 hours. The team worked really well together, and I'm really happy with most of the flavor profiles. We tasted everything, so I'm hoping that everything works really well together. But we've tested this, we've practiced this for months. It was similar items that we've got, similar provisions, so I feel good. We had some major issues with like them typing the menu and what our edits were. So we basically, we gave them a menu, they typed it, then they brought it back to us to edit, and when they retyped it, they made more edits. So that was a little bit frustrating. So I think, you know, we'll see. I'm hoping that that's not too big of a point scale on us, but I think all the components were there, and I'm very happy and very proud of my team.
the team judges were impressed by the overall level of competition.
Oh, things today went actually quite well. There was a few challenges, but overall the teams performed well. There were maybe one or two in the kitchen not so strong, but there were younger teams. The older teams were a little bit more experienced, but I think it was good. Between today and yesterday, we saw excellent food, right? And you know, it's up to the judges. I didn't have all the food, so I can't really say. But from my point of view, presentation and everything, it seems to be a notch higher.
Meanwhile, members of the audience had nothing but positive words for Team USVI's work.
This is the best thing the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association does. I know you look around the room and you see the camaraderie of people, young men and women, professionals in the culinary arts coming together to the energy and the positivity. And in all honesty, when we started this thing almost 20 years ago, it was mostly it was more about the spirit than the quality of the food. And now, fast forward till today, you've seen it. I'm sure you've taken some. This is the real deal. This is a world-class culinary competition. This isn't like trying to make people in the Caribbean feel good. And it's not a charity event. This is a real deal. So I'm so proud. USVI killed it tonight. I think it was the best dessert I had for sure. But I'm just really very proud to have been a little tiny piece of this for a long time, and to see it where it is today is just fantastic.
Team USVI was now 2/3 of the way through the events, but there was no relaxing. The competition was just about to turn up. This is Taste of the Caribbean USVI.